They said he wouldn't return. They said he was gone and lost in the darkness. But I assure you, folks, he is back and better than ever. Introducing your host of the Holmes Hour podcast, Jordan Holmes.
How we doing, everyone? It is great to see all of you beautiful people again. Here we are, season 2 of the Holmes Hour. Week 3 of the NFL is fully upon us, and I'd just like to say I'm more excited than ever. Let's start things off properly by introducing the number one YouTube show mascot in the world, presenting, of course, Tyson the Bug. And, of course, he's as excited as ever. Tyson, you have a few words to say to the show? Oh, yeah, real nice. The cough gone, so we shouldn't be too bothered by any coughing anymore like we had in the previous season. Folks, it is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon over here in sunny Davis, California. I am just relaxing, and, I had a lot of different people messaging me, hey, is the Holmes Hour coming back? Are we doing this? And I wasn't sure because I am just overloadedly busy coaching high school football now. I coach the Pioneer Patriots, and I just really love doing the show. And I just took a moment, and I was like so busy. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. But screw it. Here we are. We're back. I love talking NFL football. We'll get in some contacts with people. We'll try to get some guests on again. Today will just be me. I just figure let's just do one and see if some of my friends will be excited it's back on, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll play it by ear. I'm not sure if we'll do 2 shows a week again, or if we'll just start doing one that I post on Wednesdays or Tuesday nights. I'm really not sure. But for now, we'll treat it as this will be the only episode of the week. So we will do discussion of the games as well as making our picks for the next games coming up. So a lot of good stuff to dive into there. First things first, let's just dive right into our Thursday night game. Panthers at the Houston Texans. Okay, folks, this should be a wash game, right, for the Panthers. I've never been impressed with the Houston Texans. I don't think that they're a team that's going to make a lot of splash in the NFL this year. That being said, they won week 1 against Jacksonville, and Tyrod Taylor was looking really good. Of course, obviously has a hamstring injury. I don't know if he's on IR or how long he's going to be out, but I'll tell you this. I don't see that Texans team winning any games with David Mills as the quarterback. I've never even heard of David Mills. I do know that he has the longest neck I have ever seen in my entire life on an NFL quarterback, but that's okay. I mean, they got freakish bodies over there in the NFL, right? So we'll talk about Houston right now, okay? They've got some decent names there. Brandon Cooks, obviously a receiver who's been making plays over there for Houston. They do have David Johnson still, who's a very solid receiving back last season when he had Deshaun Watson, okay? And then they also have Mark Ingram over there, who in week 1 was definitely getting a load of the carries. And, I think he can still play football. He's definitely still got some football left in the body of his, and former Heisman winner as well. So, you can't ever sleep on people with freakishly athletic form and ability to perform like that. Houston was struggling out the gate. They played good defense. They're playing very well defensively early on, to be honest, especially once Christian McCaffrey got dinged up. He's going to be out for a few weeks as well. There's another person with a hamstring, 2 hamstring injuries to Houston and Carolina there. So Houston's down there starting QB right now. And I like Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod, okay? I mean, he's been screwed over in a lot of situations. He has a Super Bowl ring, I believe. Man, I want to say it's with Baltimore, but I could be wrong. But I do think it's Baltimore. And he's bounced around the league a lot. And he's had some starting opportunities, but just never seems to be able to stay healthy. And obviously the Chargers stabbed him in the chest. Shout out to that doctor who was like, Herbert's going to be the guy. We don't need Taylor anymore. Obviously, Herbert's been panning out well. So that's what they've got going down in Houston. David Mills is the guy right now. I think their defense played well against what I consider to be a strong Panthers offense. However, I'm not so sure how strong that Panthers offense is going to be without Christian McCaffrey. Chuba Hubbard started running the rock better later in the game. But early on, right when Christian McCaffrey went out, that team was scrambling. They couldn't get a first down for a while. Houston was getting to the quarterback. But eventually Sam Darnold figured it out. And the Panthers, they end up running away with the game. Let's see, final score here, 24-9, right? And Houston did score a touchdown, but they missed their PAT, which I always think is a bad omen, #Raiders. You got to make those extra points if you want to really, really make your touchdown count and sting, I feel. Sam Darnold, though, looking really good for the first time in a long time, right? Obviously was trapped in Adam Gase land over there for the New York Jets, which is just a hellhole. And I'm sure we've all been seeing the memes that Adam Gase is the ultimate quarterback destroyer, leaves the Broncos, and then Peyton Manning wins the Super Bowl, finally stops working with Tannehill, and then Tannehill all of a sudden is a starting caliber quarterback once again in the NFL. And now we're seeing the same exact result pinning down to Sam Darnold, who is now playing high caliber starting quarterback in the NFL. His team's 3-0, and the numbers don't lie. And I mean, we'll talk about the undefeated teams and teams with 1 loss, 2 losses, and teams that haven't won, right? But 3-0 is hard to argue with from any standpoint, whether you're the Denver Broncos or you're the Raiders. It's impressive to be undefeated in the NFL at this point. And we got a long season. Hell, we're only 3 games in. We got 14 games left. Anything can happen. Quarterbacks can get hurt. Running backs hurt. Defense slows down. Head coach is hurt. Andy Reid, illness. Thoughts and prayers to him. But anything can happen. The NFL is a crazy, crazy place, and we're going to be having much different power ranking conversations right now than we will be in freaking week 16. So we just have to keep seeing what happens. So that was our Thursday night game. I enjoyed watching that. Had a little money down in the DraftKings, did not win anything because Brandon Cooks absolutely obliterated me. But that's all right. It's no big deal. Moving on to the next game we'll discuss here. Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, that there was a hell of a matchup. Kansas City Chiefs, 4 turnovers. Still had an opportunity to win the game late. 32 seconds, 1 timeout left to Patrick Mahomes. But let's talk about this LA Chargers team and Justin Herbert and their ability to respond to adversity. This Chiefs team oftentimes had plenty of chances to grab the momentum, but the Chargers defense simply kept coming through, and Herbert was able to keep piecing together drives that either came away with points and touchdowns. And there's a team that also had not 1, but 2 missed extra points by their kicker, and they're still able to pull it out. They should have been in the lead by 8 at the end there, not by 6. 2 missed PATs coming in by that Chargers team. I will say this now, and if you're a fantasy owner of his or whatever, Herbert is looking absolutely lights out, like a stud. And I know Rookie of the Year last year obviously stepped in for who we're just talking about, Tyrod Taylor, when he had his lung punctured by his the shot for his ribs that were hurting. And this team has proven that they can play some really high-level football in tough situations. It is not easy to go into Arrowhead and win a football game. It's just not. Kansas City is still, one of the top 2-3 teams in the NFL right now until a couple weeks or two prove different. They did lose to the Ravens, though. Jesus Christ. Kansas City Chiefs, folks, are 1-2. 1-2 overall right now. Lost to Baltimore, lost to the Chargers. And who did they eke out their win against? Kansas City. Who did you beat, Kansas City? Let's check it out. Did they win week 1? Is that where they won? Kansas City. Oh, why can't I find you, Kansas City? Chiefs. Oh, edged it out against the Browns. That's right. That was a good game. Browns playing some really good football, running the ball extremely well like they always have. Baker Mayfield's been playing good football. That was a good game. Chiefs, in that situation, were able to come back and get their win. Now, I will say this. The Chiefs are famously known in the betting world for not being able to cover their spreads. They never do. If the spread's 3 points, they win by 2. If it's 2 points, they win by 1. And I will say this. It's just seeming like Patrick Mahomes is maybe looking a little bit more human than he ever has these days, right? He's making ugly mistakes. I remember the Ravens game, he threw basically a shot-putted ball out to Kelsey that was intercepted by the Ravens linebacker, and it was just ugly. I'm just like, dude, like no one's going to tell you to make that throw as a quarterback's coach in the NFL. But Patrick Mahomes has been getting away with making those decisions for quite some time, right? So I just think that he needs to stop, thinking he's so damn cocky and the best player to ever walk this earth, which I know that's a quarterback mindset that he needs to have. But let's try to play some more smarter, fundamental football. Obviously, there's other mistakes going on with the Ravens. Edwards-Helaire has been fumbling just a bunch. He's been losing the rock in big situations. I think he had fumble against the Ravens to lose the game. Then he had a fumble in the red zone against the Chargers. Kansas City Chiefs just need to clean it up. They need to clean all their play up if they want to, stay in the top 5 power rankings. Like, people are still keeping them, but we'll just see how they do. Chargers are on the rise, and that's going to be an interesting team to watch. They're in a tough division. Got Raiders, Chiefs, Denver. There's good football teams in there, and it's going to lead for some good football. I'm excited to watch that. But great job by the Chargers beating against the spread there. All right, let's talk about Arizona Cardinals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, now Trevor Lawrence has looked absolutely abysmal. I don't know if Urban Meyer is the right move for the coach there. There's still some things to figure out. The team is in a rebuild process, and it's sometimes tough to watch football games when they're in that situation because they are still trying to figure out a lot of stuff. Excuse me, I'm just getting some text from my coaches. They are still trying to figure out a lot of stuff over there in Jacksonville. But I'll tell you what, this Arizona game impressed me, especially early on, right? Jacksonville was down 7-0 for most of the first half. Trevor Lawrence ends up hitting DJ Chark in the back of the end zone with a minute left. Arizona jogs out Matt Prater to try to kick a 68-yard field goal. Matt Prater is short, and Jamal Agnew gets not his first, but his second kick return for a touchdown. Now, it wasn't he had a kickoff return for a touchdown last week, and now this week we have him getting a kick 6. Which is, it's smart of him to take the ball out because when those field goal units line up there, it's typically big body blockers, and it's not always easy for those big fellas to go catch those speedy corner wide receiver types. Jamal Agnew making good plays for the Jaguars. Now, I think Urban Meyer tried to get too cute in the third quarter. Jacksonville gets an interception in the end zone, and then they drive down and score again. Robinson gets in, James Robinson gets in, and then they stop Arizona, and right when they get the ball back, they try to do a flea flicker, hand the ball to Robinson, pitch it back to Lawrence. Lawrence takes a shot, and it's pick 6 right to the house by Murphy for the Arizona Cardinals. And that was really, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back, even though Jacksonville had the lead at this point. You know what? I think Arizona had come back and tied it, or at least been down. It was a very close game, and that pick 6 gave Arizona the lead either by 6 or 7, and Arizona never gave it back up, really. And Jacksonville was fighting, and those fans were excited there, and trust me, I've been a fan of teams struggling to get wins, so I'm sure they were hyped up in that game. But Arizona, I do believe, is a better football team. Kyler Murray has been playing absolutely lights-out football, and I believe Arizona's 3-0, too. I think they beat Minnesota last week. So Arizona is another team to keep in the conversation realms for sure. Boiling back down to Jacksonville, we just got stuff to figure out defensively, offensively. I mean, I think Lawrence is someone who can get the job done. I don't know if him and Urban Meyer exactly mesh well, just from looking at offensive production on its own. But we're just going to have to wait and see how that develops. I expect them to get a win at some point. But we'll see, because every game they're going into, they're going to be underdogs because they've already lost to the Texans, who I think are the 31st, team in the NFL. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Next game, oh God, Bears versus Browns. Matt Nagy, a lot of people are calling to cut the man's head off. They're just like, screw Matt Nagy. Your offense was great year 1. It was terrible year 2, and it's been abysmal year 3, especially when putting in your rookie quarterback, which is interesting because Matt Nagy is really well known for running creative offensive schemes, trick plays, reversals, things like that. And it just seemed very vanilla against a very stout Browns defense. And maybe it's because Fields, doesn't know the playbook and can't handle that type of workload, or I don't know if they're trying to keep it simple for him. But I do know that after the first half of football, the Bears only had 68 yards of total offense. And at the end of the day, Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks on his own, and Fields is definitely sacked more than just by Myles Garrett. Good game by Myles Garrett. Are really happy for him, and let's pad those stats up, man, and keep flying around with the football. I like watching the Browns winning because they were really bad there for about 10 years. So let's see them building up and getting some more confidence going through to them. Boiling back down though, this Chicago team really needs to take a step back and be like, what kind of style quarterback are we trying to use? Should we treat Fields like a Lamar and get some more designed runs in there? It really looked like they're running an offense that was designed for your Andy Dalton and your Nick Foles body type, who are, Nick Foles is the 3 there, and Andy Dalton is the alleged starter when healthy. So I just felt like they really should have tried to get more creative. And it just felt like they were like, yeah, we're going to lose this game right off the bat. So I wasn't very impressed by the Bears at all. Yeah, I wasn't impressed at all. So it is what it is. And we'll just see how they do with weeks moving forward. I expect this Browns team to continue to be a powerhouse. As long as they have Chubb and Hunt and Baker in their offensive thing, they're going to be a tough team to stop. And that is just the truth of it. Let's go next to another really just blowout game here. We have the Washington football team versus the Buffalo Bills. Washington really struggling, okay? Heineke, I know he's trying to get the job done. Another young quarterback in there, new to the starting role for sure. Obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt and was supposed to be the guy, hurt his hip in week 1, and that's been Heineke's team ever since. The Washington football team, they really struggled early. It seems like this Bills team is getting hot right now. Blew out Miami 35-0 week 2. It was a little interesting that they had lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1, but that was really based off of the Steelers defense that had TJ Watt, and TJ Watt's been out the last 2 weeks. And I don't try to tell me that there's not a correlation between their poor defensive performance in weeks 2 and 3 without having TJ Watt on that team, because TJ Watt is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, bar none. It's too easy to say. So as I was saying though, this Buffalo team is really blowing people out of the water these days. And Washington started to get a little momentum in the second quarter there. They had a really big touchdown by Antonio Gibson, say 75, 80 yard or something like that. And then Justin Hopkins kicks the ball deep, and it ends up getting hit by the wind, and Hopkins ends up landing on the ball at the 30-yard line. And I think Washington even goes in and scores more points there. But this Buffalo Bills team, that offense is just too freaking good. It was really looking reminiscent of Kansas City's offense last year, except Kansas City can never blow anyone out last year because their defense has never really been that impressive, and they're even worse this year. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen accounts for 5 touchdowns, 4 passing, 1 rushing. I know he had Emmanuel Sanders for at least 2 touchdowns, and they've got really good football players over there. And Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And it's just damn, they're playing good football up there in Buffalo. So I anticipate them to only play better, which is scary because that's a tough team to go up against. I think Kansas City plays them either 1 or 2 weeks. So that's going to be a good matchup because those are some high-powered offenses that are going to be clashing heads there. Next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. Vrabel, Derrick Henry, Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, all really strong weapons over there for that Tennessee team. They've been playing some close games as of late, but I think that's really good practice because games are always close in the NFL. And the Tennessee Titans have been finding a way to win the games as well. They beat Seattle down 15 in the fourth quarter last week. Tennessee Titans handle the Colts very well. It didn't really seem like the Colts were in much of a position to win the game at any point, to be honest. They just seemed a step or 2 behind that Tennessee Titans team. Carson Wentz is dealing with 2 sprained ankles at the moment. 2, that's right. Both of them are sprained. And it's just, I don't think they have the receivers over there in Indianapolis either. You've got Michael Pittman Jr. and Campbell over there catching the ball. And it's just like, dude, we really needed a guy like T.Y. Hilton here in this lineup to help keep this receiving core stout. But there's just not anyone on that team that I feel is a true vertical threat. Vertical, beat you deep. Deshaun Jackson, Rams, Tampa Bay. Who's going to get the hell over the top and score us some points? And I just don't see that threat there in Indianapolis. They're going to need to figure it out, whether it's a young man stepping up, bringing someone in from free agency, or just re-changing up their scheme to find a way to become more explosive on offense, because they're just not getting the job done. They had to completely abandon the run. Taylor only had 9-10 carries, which he needs at least 20 a game if you're trying to be competitive. But they were just so far behind that they had to start slinging the rock, and Wentz is doing his best. I can see that. You see the effort there from Carson the whole time. But it's just not enough. And obviously he's cast off from Philly, and I'm just not sure if he's the answer over there in Indianapolis. I don't know. Is he a quarterback that can still win football games in the NFL? I'm not sure. Indianapolis Colts fall to 0-3 against a powerful Tennessee Titans team who are moving the ball along fairly well. They are 2-1 after having a stunning defeat to the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Let's go to our next game here. We will talk about the New Orleans Saints versus the New England Patriots. Battle of the news in the NFL, right? Different quarterbacks for each team this year. Obviously, Drew Brees is gone, and obviously Cam Newton was released by the New England Patriots. Mac Jones and that New England offense look pretty bad to me. And, of course, you can just lean back and say, oh, it's Mac Jones' rookie year and things like that. But let's be real. New England invested like $145 million on offensive pickups this year. They got Aguilar from the Raiders. They got Jonnu Smith. They got Hunter Henry. They have Kendrick Bourne. They've got a lot of people who can play good football over there that have done it with other teams. And it just seems like they're really struggling to get the ball down the field. New England, they like to be a running team. James White left the game in the second quarter with a hip injury. Damian Harris was struggling. New England's got to pick it up. They got to start making some plays happening. Not to mention, Mac Jones threw 2 picks in this game as well. And everyone say, well, he hasn't thrown a pick yet, and he's a very accurate passer. I'll tell you what, he was accurately passing it right to the defense this week. He did a great job, Mac Jones. And I was someone who was high on him early, but I'm starting to be like, I'm seeing a struggling New England team right here in front of me. And I know Belichick's fuming in his seat. They got to figure this stuff out. Their defense still plays good football. Obviously, Belichick's more of a defensive guy anyway. I get that. So at the end of the day, it boils down to McDaniels over there at the offensive coordinator spot. They're going to need to figure something out. Maybe get some more trickery in the offense, some more reversals, because that power football and just, closing your eyes and praying that we convert on 3rd and long is not working for this New England team right now. Now let's hop over to the New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston has been playing very good football. The New Orleans Saints defense has been playing very good football. They've got Callaway. They've got Taysom Hill over there. You've got Alvin Kamara, all right? There's a lot of people who know how to play and win tight football games late in the season as well. Jameis Winston just got LASIK eye surgery. He says he can see much better. And I'm not going to lie. He had a touchdown pass to Callaway where Callaway had fell and Jameis was getting sacked. And basically, he's just like, screw it. I know Callaway's going to make a play on the ball. And they got a beautiful touchdown in the back of the end zone that was backstabbing for the New England Patriots. And I'm just seeing some impressive football played by the New Orleans Saints. They beat Green Bay week 1 handily, right? And then Carolina, handled business the next week. But here we are seeing the New Orleans Saints come out and play another good game. So the New Orleans Saints are 2-1 right now. New England falls to 1-2. Their only win coming against a winless Miami. No. They lost to Miami. Sorry. Their only win coming against the Jets, the winless Jets. And they had 4 interceptions and only scored 23 points in that game. 4 interceptions, and you barely put up any points. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Let me make sure I'm correct on that score. How much did you score? 25, excuse me. You can't turn the ball over 4 times as an offense you get the ball defensively 4 times for your offense, and they only put 25 points up in the whole game for you. I was telling people right after that game, I'm like, I really expect New England to get more points than just 25 off 4 interceptions by a young quarterback in Zach Wilson, who's at a very struggling franchise and a team who's always, had a rough time winning games since the Mark Sanchez, Rex Ryan era in general. So we'll see what the Saints team can do later in the future. I expect New England to continue to struggle, to be honest. Maybe they'll get a win against a Miami, and maybe Mac Jones will clean it up and they'll start hitting some more better completions and things. But I'll tell you what, it was not an impressive week 3 bout by that New England Patriots team, and I know several of their fans are going to be heavy-hearted and upset. Going on to the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Giants. All right, folks. I had a little bit of money on this game. I said Matty Ice was going to pull this game out, and I was absolutely correct. But I will say this: Saquon Barkley is looking stronger week by week. All right. He ended up having a touchdown in that game, was running the ball well, had some good catches as well. The Giants also lost 2 receivers early. I believe they lost Sterling Shepard and one other name with one of their other S receivers. The name's escaping me, and I don't even want to try to look it up. But they lost two of their main receivers early. So that's something to think about too. I think Daniel Jones can be a successful quarterback in the NFL. I think he's got good fundamentals. I think he's quite the athlete as well because he can run the football very well. It makes me think if he was on a team like, Green Bay or, the Rams, like how would his production be? Is he just one of those quarterbacks who happens to be trapped in a bogged down coaching situation? I am not sure. Is Joe Judge the answer there? I am not sure. All I know is that this Giants team is 0-3 and that the Falcons and Matty Ice pulled through for me as I had money on them. I wanted the Falcons to win this game. Falcons were down 14-7 midway through the fourth quarter. Falcons get the ball back, go down and score to Lee Smith, former Raiders tight end. Good job, Lee. Proud of you, bud. And then Giants get the ball back. They have to punt with 2 minutes left in the game. Matty Ice drives the team right down the field to the 25-yard line, and Younghoe Koo makes the game-winning field goal. Falcons win the game 17-14. Falcons finally in the win column at 1-2, while the Giants fall to 0-3, losing some heartbreakers on field goals. That is the way of the NFL, and it just is what it is. Let's move on to another team who is struggling right now, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see you, Matt. I know you're probably going to be checking this out. Ben Roethlisberger looks old. He looks old. I know he's a year or two older than Rodgers and 3 or 4 years younger than Brady, but Ben Roethlisberger just looks like he's struggling and hating life right now. Najee Harris had 19 targets. Najee looks like one of the best football players over there. Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not seeing all the TikToks. I'm not seeing all the bull crap that they're talking. And one of my least favorite, but also favorite quotes from the playoffs of last year. You guys think you're going to win the football game against the Browns? Browns is the Browns, baby. Browns is the Browns. Well, guess what? Receiving corner for Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin and all them. You got the worst quarterback in the division right now because you just got booty womped by Joey Burrow and Jamar Chase. Tyler Higbee, Taj Boyd, all people over there who are really making some dividends for the Cincinnati Bengals team. Cincinnati was looking for a win, and they got it at Pittsburgh. Jamar Chase is looking really good. The caveat on him coming out of college was that he struggled to receive catches and that he might have some hands issues. That does not seem to be the case at the moment. Jamar Chase has got 2 touchdowns. I think he has 5 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He had 2 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. Expect Jamar Chase and Joey Burrow to continue to have good production, and I would expect the Philadelphia. I would expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to also continue to struggle on offense. One of the main reasons of that being is Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have his starting center anymore. Pouncey retired. He's got the previous starting center for the Carolina Panthers, who's just an extreme hothead to me, and that line is new to him. I think Ben's just looking around him and being like, I don't even know anyone on my football team anymore, and it might be time to hang up the old pads and helmet for Big Ben. We will see. He's saying that he still loves playing and loves the competition, so we're just going to have to watch and see as the season develops. My thing is who the hell do you go with if you lose Big Ben? Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins? I would go with Dwayne personally. Mason had his chance and didn't really succeed with them in previous years. Dwayne's on a redemption trail right now after losing his captainship for the Washington football team last year. He was not a big Ron Rivera guy. We'll just leave it at that. Coming down to another nail-biter game here, and the Ravens sure love to be in them, it seems. The Baltimore Ravens managed to just eke it out against the Detroit Lions in Michigan, all right? The Lions played good football. I really like the head coach over there for the Detroit Lions. Motor City Dan Campbell used to play linebacker for the Lions, was a linebackers coach, defensive coach for the New Orleans Saints back in their heyday as well. He's been around the league. A lot of former members on that staff are former players, I should say. And Dan Campbell's getting the job done right now from let's try to get this team back into a competitive standpoint. All right, the Lions were really struggling for a long time. They've been cursed since the 60s. They just can't catch a break. And the development of a team goes. You start losing games bad. You start losing games close. Then you start winning games close, and then you start blowing teams out. I believe the Detroit Lions are in the phase of we're starting to lose close games. And that can take a year or two to get through, especially when you still need to establish the staff and personnel around you that you want on your team, which Dan Campbell faces right now. They've played some good games. The worst game they played was against the Packers, and that's a tough offense to slow down. But even when they played the Niners, they clawed their way back in, and we're only down 8 with 30 seconds left at the 50-yard line against that Niners team. People are just going to let that go because the Niners were up damn near 30 at halftime. But that's, the Lions really clawed their way back into that game. They keep fighting. They keep biting in kneecaps, as Dan Campbell says. We're going to fight till the very end. And I love that mindset. I would personally love to play for a coach like that. So I expect Detroit to continue to be competitive, and I expect them to break away some wins that they should not have, at least 2 or 3, probably in the next 6-7 weeks. So, we'll keep an eye on them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll go 0-10. I'm not sure, but I see fight and heart in that team that you don't normally see from a Detroit Lions team that's struggling to win games. Let's go to the other side of this Baltimore Ravens team. They have 15 people on IR. They lost 3 running backs before the season even started, and they are somehow finding ways to win games in miracle fashion. Forced a fumble on the Kansas City Chiefs week 2. Couldn't pull it out against the Raiders week 1. But hey, the Raiders are a tough team. I understand that. Chiefs are a tough team too. The Baltimore Ravens get the ball back with less than 2 minutes after Detroit takes a go-ahead field goal. And the Lions did a good job. They game plan. We are not going to let Lamar Jackson run the ball. He is not going to have a heyday on us running. And they did a good job scheming up against him defensively. Hollywood Brown had 3 deep reception drops, which did not help his case at all from a fantasy standpoint or from the Ravens standpoint, as they were held pretty low on the scoreboard. That being said, with about 15 seconds left on the clock, the Ravens had a 4th and 19 and end up converting and getting the clock stopped with no time left on the clock. Justin Tucker's left to kick a 66 NFL record yard field goal. And I was listening to him talk about how he did it. He's been working on the kick for more than a year. What he actually did was start running to the football as it was snapped, as opposed to when the ball was caught, which is quite uncommon in the NFL. And I believe that particular type of kick he'd been working on exactly for the situation was the main reason that this team was able to pull out this victory. Good job to Lamar Jackson. Good job to Justin Tucker and that Ravens team, because go watch that kick if you haven't. 66 yards flying. All the fans in the Detroit are screaming, "You're going to miss." They're going absolutely crazy. Ball hits the freaking crossbar, bounces over. It's good. Baltimore Ravens win the game and a nail-biter 66-yard field goal. Breaks Matt Prater's record by 2 yards. Justin Tucker does. Give Justin Tucker 6-7 more years, and we can start talking Hall of Fame kicker status here, because that man is bad. He's a bad, bad man, and it's just as simple as that. Ravens go to 2-1. And that's a good football team there. Let's go to our next game. We're going to be talking about the 2 3-0 teams in the AFC West, starting with the Denver Broncos. Now, I try to stay non-biased on this show. I've obviously got opinions about teams in my team's division. We're rocking the Max Crosby jersey, by the way. Teams in my team's division. But I will say this. 3-0 is 3-0, and there's no real argument or case that you can make to negate that. The Denver Broncos have found themselves in a great situation. They've beaten probably 3 of the worst teams in the NFL, in the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New York Jets. Well done, Denver. Teddy Bridgewater is playing some lights-out football right now. I will give him that. You know what? I lied. They did not beat the Houston Texans. They beat the Giants. I recant my Houston Texans statements. So Jacksonville, they beat the Giants, and then they've beaten the New York Jets. I don't know who made that schedule for them, but they must have been a big Broncos fan, because those are all games I think the Broncos can win. I think they're better than all of those football teams. I don't know if Denver is a team that is above 15th in the NFL from a power ranking standpoint, but here they are with one of the best records available right now, and it's hard to complain. That defense is playing really good. They've got 2 tight ends that can catch the ball over there. Cortland Sutton's doing well. Jerry Jeudy is out with an ankle injury right now, but there's someone else who has big play potential when he's back from his ankle injury. I will say this, they did take a big hit against that Jets team. Hamler, I believe it's KJ Hamler, who's been playing really good football. He's a young receiver. Teddy Bridgewater moved his locker over to his just so they can work and connect more on routes. Tore his ACL. He is out for the year. Denver Broncos once again having to deal with the injury bug, but at least it's not to Von Miller. However, Bradley Chubb has been on and off the field recently for the Denver Broncos as well. He seems to really struggle to keep himself available early in the season. Hopefully he's not out for too long because we want to watch the best football being played by the best teams. This New York Jets team looks absolutely atrocious. I was not a big Zach Wilson fan, and it's not just because he looks like a 16-year-old boy who's just about to go to prom, but he literally does. I just don't. Man, I don't have a lot of good things to say about the Jets, and I'm not going to just go on a huge tirade about how terrible they are, but they need to figure some things out. We need to find a way to run the football. We've got to hit our receivers better. They've got some people who can play football over there. They've got Conley over there, former first-round pick. We've got people that can play, but we've got to find a way to get the ball to them. Zach Wilson seems to really struggle with pressure in his face, and that does not help when your O-line is absolutely abysmal. They cannot get the run game going, and they are not able to stop people on big plays defensively. Third down, terrible. Fourth down, terrible. Goal line, terrible. Red zone, awful. It's hard to find a lot of love and production in favor for a team when they're just doing so poorly. And I know Chris Shaw will probably listen to this and hear what I'm saying and absolutely agree with me, because it's hard to go out and cheer for a team when your rookie quarterback's going out and throwing 3-4 picks a game and there's absolutely no offensive production. And I don't even know how many points they've scored this year. I bet it's less than 30. So it's tough. And I've been there. Obviously, I'm a Raiders fan. I paid money to watch Jamarcus Russell play quarterback in the NFL. I know the struggle. You just got to hold on tight. And when those wins start coming, you just got to talk a whole bunch of smack to people. And that's just the way the world works in the NFL, unfortunately. So there's our Jets-Broncos game. Broncos are going to be playing the Baltimore Ravens next week. So that'll be a fun matchup to see how they do against another top-tier team in the NFL, like they are hoping to consider themselves. Next, we go on to the 3-0 Las Vegas Raiders. That's right, people. The Raiders are 3-0 for the first time since 2002. The Raiders are now one of the only undefeated teams in the NFL. There's only a few squirted out and spurted around there. Two of them are in the AFC West, with us being in first over the Denver Broncos, simply based off competition level, but not based off record. The Raiders struggled early on, to say the least. Of all the teams that won this week, the Raiders probably had the absolute worst start, and the Raiders, once again, just like they did week one, have showed the ability to come back, win down 14-0 already in the first quarter. Derek Carr was driving the ball down the field very well, ends up throwing a pick six on a miscommunication to a former Patriots linebacker, now playing for Miami. 85-yard pick six to the house. The Raiders then get the ball and try to go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 35-yard line and are stuffed by a powerful Miami run defense. Miami then breaks off a 30-yard touchdown run to Malcolm Brown, and all of a sudden the Miami Dolphins are in absolute business against this Raiders team. They made an interesting coaching decision after the Raiders had to punt the ball and got them down on the 1-yard line. The Raiders forced a safety and got the ball right back and got themselves a field goal, and we're right back into talking range at 14-5. Later in the game, the Raiders were up heavy. They had gone 19 unanswered against the Miami Dolphins, who had started to go to run attack. I think they were trying to just kill the clock and get out of there a little early, to be honest. But Miami started going spread again and letting Brissett really try to cook and throw the football, which is what he was doing when he was playing for the Colts and things like that. You kind of got to let him do his own thing. Surprisingly elusive, Brissett. I'll say this. I like Brissett more than Tua. I've never been a big Tua guy. I don't think Tua is that amazing. Brissett showed some really good ability to respond to adversity. They were down 11 in the fourth quarter. Talk about a missed PAT. Daniel Carlson. Raiders should have been up 12, but they were only up 11. Miami drives down the field, gets a field goal. Raiders get the ball back, get stuffed 3 and out. 3 minutes left in the game. Jacoby Brissett drives his team down the field, They have a pass interference in the end zone by the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders stopped them 3 times in a row, and on 4th and 1, Jacoby Brissett sneaks around Denzel Perryman, who's been playing lights-out middle linebacker for this Las Vegas Raiders team, and dives into the end zone to get the 6 points. They need 2 more. They beat Damon Arnett on the left side, hitting Will Fuller on a quick arrow route, and all of a sudden, the Miami Dolphins are back in business in overtime at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The Raiders would receive the football, drive down the field, and get 3 points to take the lead, giving Brissett back the ball. We could not stop them, even on 4th and 20, people. The Dolphins had 4th and 20 at their 30-yard line. They get a 27-yard completion to Mike Gesicki down the middle of the field. They get into field goal range inevitably after a play like that. They tie up the game, leaving it all up to Derek Carr and that team to get one more win in overtime, just like they did week 1. Get down there, get the field goal that we need to win the game and or touchdown. Derek Carr throws a brilliant pass on 2nd down to Brian Edwards for a 35-yard gain, getting the Raiders only 10 yards out of field goal range. They then hand the ball off to Peyton Barber, who played some good football yesterday, or on Sunday, I should say. Peyton Barber cuts up for a 25-yard gain. The Raiders are in field goal range. A couple more runs and burning out the clock later, Daniel Carlson dinks the game winner, and the Raiders find themselves at 3-0 against the Miami Dolphins. That was a good game. I was running around screaming. I almost had 4 heart attacks, I'm pretty sure. But it's always fun watching good teams play good football. And Miami stayed competitive, and the Raiders ended up getting the win. And I was hyped up. You know, if I had any comment, I would say is that we should have got to Brissett more. He was surprisingly elusive in the backfield. We applied pressure. There was quarterback hurries, but there was not enough quarterback sacks. We need guys like Solomon Thomas, Farrell, and Crosby to get back there and help us win these football games by being more disruptive. But I think Brissett it's hard to game plan for a guy that you haven't seen play in 2 years. And they did what they could, and the Raiders ended up getting the win. Defense, we got to get to the quarterback more. We need more Max Crosby. Need more Max Crosby in my life. Let's go Raiders 3-0. Moving on to one of the most watched matchups that we had last Sunday, which was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Los Angeles Rams, right? Matthew Stafford has been playing lights-out football with this Rams team now that he's no longer in Detroit. It's exciting to watch him with that whole new cast around him. We got guys like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Deshaun Jackson, all right? Henderson Jr. was out, but he's been playing good football in the first 2 weeks as well. This Rams team does great against a Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Rams were able to pull out this win 34-24. Tom Brady was playing good football, but just not good enough. And this Buccaneers defense was really, really, really struggling to slow down this Los Angeles Rams team. Buccaneers got stopped late in the game on 4th down when they were down 17. Rams kept driving the ball. Bucs end up getting the ball back and getting one more touchdown late, but it is just too little too late for this Buccaneers team. And the Bucs fall from undefeated to 2-1, while the Rams remain high and mighty at 3-0. Good job, Matthew Stafford. Are you going to be the one to take your team to the NFC title for the first time as a quarterback, Matthew Stafford? I would love to see it. I'm rooting for you. I know you were trapped out in Detroit for a long time. He's someone who deserves to be on a team that can win some games. As for Tom Brady and the Bucs, Tom Brady was absolutely pissed, as any competitor would be when they lose a game, and I expect him to come back hard against the New England Patriots. I have not forgotten that Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and no one should forget that. Good job by the Rams to pull it out. Tampa Bay's got to do a little bit better on defense, especially on 3rd and long. It is hard to stop good quarterbacks from completing those 15-yard completions. It is just tough. Tough. Next game we'll talk about. This is a surpriser to me because I thought Seattle would have this game all the way, but the Minnesota Vikings come out and play great football against the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson was trying to cook, but could not get completions down the field on 3rd and long. This Minnesota defense was playing good football. They held the Seattle Seahawks scoreless in the second half. Scoreless. Seattle had the lead at point in this game. I think it was 17-7. Seattle had this lead, but Kirk Cousins, God damn it, said, hell no, I'm getting paid some of the highest money in the NFL, and I'm going to show you why. Has 3 first-half touchdowns, and the Vikings stayed strong and true, playing great defense, great offense, keeping Seattle off the field while running the ball very well with Madison because Dalvin Cook was out. Madison had 126 rushing, I believe. very well done by this Minnesota Vikings team to beat the odds and beat the Seattle Seahawks team. Minnesota is now 1-2, narrowly avoiding 0-3. They almost beat the Arizona Cardinals last week, people. Almost beat the Arizona Cardinals last week. The power rankings are flying around here. I don't know who's going to beat who anymore. I used to think that I knew what teams were good, but that's just not the freaking case, man. It is just absolutely not the case by any means whatsoever. Great win by the Vikings team. Shout out Josh Weisborough. I'm sure you were absolutely hyped, as I would have been too. That was a great win by this Vikings team. Is Seattle not that good of a football team? Seattle's 1-2. Seattle's beat the Indianapolis Colts, who are 0-3. That's their only win. Lost to the Tennessee Titans. Gave up 15 points in week 2, or gave up a 15-point comeback, I should say, to the Titans week 2. They were up 15 in the fourth quarter, end up losing that game on a field goal. Interesting football, and there's going to be much more interesting football coming up as well in later weeks when teams that are supposed to win end up not getting their win. Great job by the Vikings. Next, let's dive into a great football game that I'm sure most of us caught. Where my Niners fans out there? I know we may be brutal blood enemies in this game, but when I'm on the talk show, everything is even and equal. Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers. Niners were the favorite in this game. They've been playing great unstoppable offense. Jimmy Garoppolo has been looking like an absolute guy out there for the last 2 weeks. Jimmy G and the Niners struggled early, to say the least, okay? Aaron Rodgers and his Green Bay Packers team were doing a great job moving the ball down the field. Aaron Jones is playing great football from a running and receiving standpoint. You've got Devontae Adams. You've got Big Bob Tonyan. You've got Valdez-Scantling. You've got Alan Lazard. There's a bunch of people on that Packers team that know how to play football and know how to win. And you got the man himself, Aaron Rodgers, right out of Butte Community College here in California. Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are up 17-0 as there is a minute left in halftime. Niners get a good return, drive down the field, and get Trey Lance into the end zone for their first big play, really, of the day, outside of stopping the Packers on 4th and 1 on the 6-yard line. Trey Lance and the Niners get themselves back into some competitive territory. Niners open with the ball and drive right back down the field and score against this Green Bay Packers team. Very well done. It's now 14-7. Green Bay continues to struggle while the Niners continue to gain momentum. At the end of the day, we find ourselves with the Niners only down 1 and driving the ball with about 3 minutes left in the game. Jimmy Garoppolo ends up driving the team down the field. They complete a pass to Kyle Juszczyk for a 16-yard touchdown with 37 seconds and no timeouts left on the clock for the Green Bay Packers. Now, me being me and knowing that Aaron Rodgers is goddamn MVP and I'm still scared of him, and anyone should be because he's freaking Aaron Rodgers, I looked right at my buddy Ian. I'm just like, that is a lot of time to leave Aaron Rodgers. That's a lot of time to leave Aaron Rodgers, and he agreed with me. So at this point, the Niners are up 28-27 on the Green Bay Packers. Kickoff is down for a touchback. Aaron Rodgers gets the ball, strikes it to Devontae Adams, who had just gotten a concussion 45 seconds earlier. And a shout out to that doctor over there for Green Bay when Devontae is like, yo, I need to get on the field to win this game. The doctor's like, how many fingers do I have? 10? You're good. You know, not how I have. Not you get the joke I'm making. It's actually should have been 8 fingers, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Devontae Adams was back on the field in a hurry. That's a quick way to clear concussion protocol. But, hey, man, it's the NFL. We got a lot of money on the line, and we got a game to go win. Completion to Devontae Adams, 20-yard gain, incomplete. Another completion to Devontae Adams for a 20-yard gain. Spike the ball. Mason Crosby comes in and kicks a 51-yard game-winning field goal. Shout out Mason Crosby. The Packers win the game. The Packers go to 2-1 while the Niners fall to 2-1. Really good job by this Green Bay Packers. I continue to say that Aaron Rodgers will continue to play at an MVP level, and this Packers team is by no means a team to mess with. They will come out and win a game late, and they know how to play good football. I think week 1 was a fluke, and I think every team's going to have a fluke. No team goes undefeated in the NFL, and that's just how it is, unless you're the Miami Dolphins. Way back in the day, it is almost impossible to go undefeated. So losses come, and that's just how it is. Lastly, we'll go to a more dismal Monday night game with the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas is looking hot. They played Tampa Bay very well week 1, and they beat the Los Angeles Chargers week 2. Dak Prescott was hitting on all cylinders, and Ezekiel Elliott was absolutely eating. Feed me, I'm sure Zeke was saying. This Eagles team seems to be struggling to get an offense that can really produce well. They did great against the Falcons week 1, but I think we're finding out that the Falcons may just not be the best football team out there. And Nick Sirianni and this Philadelphia Eagles team are now 1-2 after losing to a division competitor. Dallas looks like they're going to be a team that may be able to run away with the NFC East. I'm not sure, but I just don't see a lot of competition for those Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Once again, Dak looks amazing off the leg repair. And when you've got weapons like Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Ezekiel Elliott in your backfield and tight ends like Dalton Schultz, who made some big plays in that game, it's tough to see this division going anyone else's way. Now, yes, the Eagles could clean it up and Jalen Hurts could start playing better football. I understand that. I'm not as high on Jalen as I was last year. I think once you watch a quarterback play a few games, he's much easier to scheme and tendencies are much easier to find. And I had said this last year in season 1, but I thought a lot of his success was based off the fact that there was not a lot of tape on him to watch. So we're just going to have to wait and see here. If the Eagles can start pulling it out, let's see who they're playing next week. We're going to dive in our predictions for week 4 of the NFL season, and then I will let you guys go. I appreciate you all for listening as long as you have, and maybe you just tuned in to listen to your team. That's absolutely fine. Do whatever you want to do. I'm really just talking to myself here at the end of the day anyway, right? So let's get into it here. We are going to go over the week 4 matchups right now. So we're going to start with a Thursday night game. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Let me give that game to Cincinnati. They've been playing really good football. They just beat the Steelers at Steelers. So I'm giving this to the Bengals. Hey, this is a game that Jacksonville could win, though. This is a game that they can come in and decide that this is going to be our opportunity to get the job done. All right. So let's see what Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence can cook up over there. Ultimately, I'm going to give this one to Cincy. We've got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Jets early in the morning on Sunday, October 3rd. Give me the Tennessee Titans. The Jets are in an absolute hellhole right now trying to figure out what they should do offensively and defensively. This Titan team, to me, seems to be one that is humming and knows how to win games late and close. So give me Tennessee in that. Give me Vrabel and Tannehill pulling it out there. Detroit Lions versus Chicago Bears. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. I know people are going to pick Chicago in this game, but I see Detroit pulling it out. They're a tough team. The Bears are down. I don't know if they're going to have Dalton, so I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions here, and I'm going to stick with that one. Hammer that down. Colts versus Dolphins. Oh, man, I'm going to go Dolphins here. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Colts will blow them out of the water, but that Dolphins team looked to be playing really good football with Jacoby Brissett to me. And the Indianapolis Colts are just a struggling team at the moment. Both of these teams are 0-3. Oh, no, the Dolphins have a win. Never mind. Both of these teams are dismal right now, but the Dolphins did beat New England in week 1. So give me the Miami Dolphins over this struggling Indianapolis Colts team with the banged-up Carson Wentz and a banged-up O-line. Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings. I know Minnesota's been playing really good football, but I think Cleveland is the better football team here. Let's give that one to the Browns, Baker Mayfield, and the Vikings probably not being able to stop that run attack. But I will say this, the Vikings have been playing teams that they were supposed to lose to very well for the last 2 weeks, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do the exact same thing again. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Next one is the Washington football team versus the Atlanta Falcons. I picked the Falcons to win last week, and I do like Matt Ryan, but I'm going to go with screw it. I'm going Falcons. Washington's defense looks dismal. Their offense is all right. They've got Terry McLaurin, Gibson there, but I'm going to go Falcons on that one. I'm going to go Falcons, and I'm not. The Lord knows if I'll be right on that or not. But let's go Falcons. Next game, Texans, Bills. Give me Bills all day on that. David Mills is not the quarterback of the future, I believe, for that team. Give me Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I don't think that's a very hard one. Next game, we have Saints versus the New York Giants. I'm going to go with the Saints all day. Danny Dimes might play good football. They could come out and win that game. I'm not crapping on the Giants, right? But I just think the Saints are a better put-together team right now and have much better defensive performance against teams that may be tough to slow down. Next, we have Chiefs versus the Eagles. Hammer the Chiefs on this one, boys. I don't see the Eagles being a team to get this one done. They've been struggling. The Chiefs have also been struggling. They're probably going to look to come back hard against a team that they should be beating, and that's probably going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. I expect the Chiefs to dominate that game. Panthers, Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys over this Panthers team. I think one of these teams needs to crack. The Cowboys have already been in some tough games. The Panthers have won games going away, and they're 3-0. I get that, and Dallas is 2-1. But I'm hammering the Cowboys there. Give me Dallas. Next, we've got Seattle Seahawks, 49ers. Give me the Niners. I think that Niners offense is really tough to stop when they get going. When Garoppolo's on fire, they can move the ball well. That Seattle team's struggling, and I would predict that they continue to struggle. That's probably going to be a really good game there at the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Probably be a good game to tune into. Another NFC West matchup coming in. Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams. I'm going Rams. The Arizona Cardinals have been playing good football. Kyler Murray is freaking unstoppable. I get that. They've got a lot of weapons, but the Rams have a lot of weapons too. And I think the Rams play a little bit better defensively at the moment than the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals had that crazy week 1 bout, but I'm going to go Rams there. Might be wrong. Shit. Next up, Steelers, Packers all the way. Roethlisberger's broken down right now. Maybe they'll pick it up. And I know that's a rivalry that's fun to watch, but I'm going Packers on that. Easy. Ravens, Broncos. Give me the Ravens. I see the Ravens winning this game. They've played a lot of really close games. I think the Broncos are 3-0, but I think it's too shrouded by the fact that they've been playing weaker teams. If Denver can pull this game out, I'll be much more into saying that Denver is a team that can really win some tough football games. Let's see how they handle this banged-up Ravens team. Let's see how that goes, but give me the Ravens. Next, Buccaneers, Patriots. Hammer down Tom Brady beating that New England team led by Mac Jones. Tom Brady goes into New England and defeats his former mentor, Bill Belichick, who inevitably tossed him to the side when he was starting to underperform for the Patriots. Last but not least, we have the Raiders at the Chargers in Monday Night Football. This is a tough call. This is tough. Both these teams are on fire. I'm going to go a little biased here, but we're going Raiders. Hammer them down. Raiders are going to end the season or end this the first quarter of the season at 4-0, defeating some very tough opponents and getting out of LA alive. That's my final predictions there, folks. All right, guys, I would like to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I will get this posted probably late night Tuesday, early morning Wednesday. You guys can check it out. Hit me up if you want to be a guest. Let me know if you like the show. Shoot a like, shoot a subscribe. It's all good. Hopefully some people come back that were watching it last season. And if no one watches it, and we'll figure it out. We're playing it by ear. I just wanted to talk some football, and I normally have Tuesdays off, so it's a good time for me to off in the morning. I coach every day. But yeah, and if you guys are interested in any high school football, the Pioneer Patriots are playing the Woodland Wolves the Friday night. Both teams are undefeated. Opening game of league for the Patriots team that I'm coaching right now, coaching the linebackers and the defensively on JV. So and a varsity. So I coach both of them. That's why I stay quite busy. I'm doing both. Just last couple shout outs here. Shout out Connor McFarland, always using his music. Check out the SoundCloud Conjust8. I can't find his Instagram, so I'll get his Instagram up somewhere, maybe his Twitter. And then the skateboard that I showed at the beginning, the Holmes Hour skateboard, was made by Loud Exec Designs. Check him out on Instagram. That is my boy Ethan Simmons. He's an absolute dog and was also an absolute dog when playing football with me at Lawrence University. Another shout out to all the Lawrence University boys out there. The team is 1-1 right now. They just had a bye week. They played very well. They beat Finlandia around. Oh, you know what? My bad. 1-2. They beat Finlandia, had a tough bout against Lake Forest, and then lost in overtime to Grinnell College. But, I anticipate them doing well. I'm excited to watch them play. I tune in every Saturday when they have a game. So be sure to check out the Vikings, or if any of my Vikings buddies are listening, let's go Vikes. You guys got it. Keep playing good football. Last couple shout out my pops, shout out the boys, everyone listening. There's too many people to name, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Hey, let's enjoy this next week of the NFL, and I hope everyone has a great day. We will see y'all later.